You're welcome once again to Evangelist Imakalu TV, Treasury of Excellent Knowledge. I want to debunk a video made by Matthias Ezak. Just last Friday, he made the video and he was talking against the observance of Good Friday by us, the Christians. So, in that video, he had projected his serpentine lies, deceptions, and the fallacies to the world, more especially to the Africans. So, those lies, the fallacies, the deceptions are what I am going to pinpoint. That video is a very long video, and I just played it for around 5 minutes, 20 seconds. So I just grabbed little points. About 7 points I grabbed from that 5 minutes, 20 seconds I played the video. So I am going to narrate on those 7 points. Later on, if it interests me, I will continue to go deeper into that video until I will dissect the debunking of that video piece by piece. So that is exactly what I am about to do. So let me play Matthias' video in regard to that. So you can hear him out. Then I will begin to bring my analysis regarding his fallacies, his lies, and his deception.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on your time factor. I remain Mr. Ezra. Today, I want to ask my fellow Africans a simple question. In Africa, they call today Good Friday. And I want to know the good about Friday today in Africa. Thousands of Fridays that our ancestors are being changed by the Europeans, sample them like a goat in the street of Europeans, in Rome, in London, in Portuguese, in America, in Brazil. Our ancestors were sold in different Fridays, in thousands of Fridays, until after 400 years, that the European decided to abolish practical slavery and brought mental slavery through Bible. Now, African children have never for a day celebrate the suffering of their ancestors. African children have never for a day celebrate the suffering of their ancestors and tell the world what their ancestors passed through from the hands of the Europeans. Rather, the Europeans killed African ancestors by hanging, by starving them, by torturing them in the farm. The pictures are there, it's on your phone. Conveying African ancestors to Europe with the name of a ship called Jesus of Philoppe. After killing Africans, they came back and told Africans are sinners, that they are sinners. They came and brought a story of God. The creator of the whole universe never appeared to the black race, to Africans. He that created the world and created Africa never appeared to Africans. He decided to appear in Europe, in Jerusalem. He decided to appear in Corinthian, in Rome, and refused to appear in the land of Africa. But the storybook they brought to Africa called Bible told us that the God of Bible created everybody, including Africans, and he never appeared in Black Africa. When you look the story in the Bible, there is no black man name mentioned in the Bible being written as one of the chapters of the Bible. Those who wrote the word of God are all whites. The name of the angels in the Bible are all white. The name of all the saints in the Bible, they are all white. Now, your ancestors, which you know, we they know you and you know them, you have the same color with them. They are being sold in the streets of Europeans by the same Europe you are celebrating them today in the name of Good Friday. I must say, today is a sad Friday. Today is a sad Friday because what you are celebrating is stupidity, something that you did not see with your eyes. Jesus does not know you as a black person. The God of the Bible does not know you. He never touched down your own village. He visited different villages in Europe. He did not visit common one Africa, black African country. Common one. So today is a sad Friday. If you are going to church today, you are just a useless animal, just the way you have accepted that you are useless before the world. A 21st century children who cannot produce the parts they are putting out today. A black African who proudly consuming phones being manufactured by Chinese who are not Christian. Consuming the items being produced by their forefathers. And 21st children Africa who went to university cannot practically produce anything today to defend this health or to save the world. Rather, they are prayer warriors. They are into effort, region of Mary. They are mountain of fire. They are intercessor. They are interceding for Americans. They are interceding for China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan. Black man who is in prison today in London. Black man who is a refugee today in Italy, in Spain, in France, a refugee black man today, a prisoner today, as a black man who have tested on the whole prison in the whole world. The only race that have tested the whole prison in the whole world today are black race. Because they never want to believe in what they saw with their eyes. They never want to believe what belongs to them. Now, their ancestors that were kidnapped, sold by the European, which was practical, the evidence is everywhere. Black children never want to believe in it. They never want to celebrate them. They never want to mourn them before the world. They are celebrating unseen characters. They are celebrating unseen characters.
Okay, these are the points. The first point Matthias has brought to the table is the Europeans traded on some of African ancestors as slaves on some Fridays. So what is good about the Friday? What makes it the Good Friday? So according to his Serpentine controversy, Friday should not be celebrated by Africans. And there is nothing good about the Friday, not to talk of calling it a Good Friday. There is nothing good about it. But he is still celebrating Friday. He made this video on Friday, just past Friday, Friday 18th of this month of April 2020. That is when he made this video. Matthias Ezako had not changed the African system of adopting to Friday as a name of a day inside of the week. So Africans are still operating with Gregorian calendar, the Roman calendar, which is also operated with in the major part of the whole world. Then why is it all about Africa to this kind of fallacy? Matthias Ezako should be telling the African government to remove Friday. Let them introduce their own day. He will also make that move. It is not about attacking Christians, attacking the church, claiming many things, fabricating many falsehoods to add to the reality, which are things that really happened against us, the Africans. I'm still coming. They sold them all as slaves on some Fridays. Even there is what is called Black Friday. Black Friday is the day the African slaves were sold auction. They were sold auction. Human beings being sold auctions to other slave masters. So they call it Black Friday. It was a very painful Friday to the African race. So, but are there really Christians who sold Africans for slavery? The answer is no. I have been making some videos that are relational to this. If you go back to listen to my videos on Christianity, religion, and the colonization in Africa, go back to begin to listen to my videos. I have a variety of videos on that topic. You begin to understand it better. So these were colonizers. They were not Christians, but they disguised themselves because Christians were being accepted anywhere they went in those days. There were European Christians, American Christians. Then there were also the colonizers who came to exploit Africa in every ramification possible to them. And that is what they have done. And it is still affecting Africa until today, because there is a system, a structured system for the continuity of that trading over us, the Africans. That is true. But the people who did it were not the Christians. That is where Matthias Ezako is lying to the world, lying to Africans. Those people were colonizers, occultists, the pirates, the buccaneers, the pirates, the buccaneer and the pirate, most especially, occultists. So the occultists of Europeans, these were hoodlums who became colonizers. They were not Christians. And Matthias Ezako went on in this video to say that they later eliminated physical slavery. They eliminated it. The people who eliminated it later were the real Christians. When the Christian missionary began to come into Africa for intervention, they were the people who eliminated that physical slavery. So, Matthias is twisting the narrative to suit his attack on the Christians and on the church. The second point, the Europeans brought mental slavery to Africa through the Bible. Matthias Ezako claimed that the Europeans brought mental slavery through the Bible to Africans to replace, to use it as a tool to replace the physical slavery. But that is a lie. The Europeans brought mental slavery psychologically, religiously, politically, and otherwise, but not through the Bible. Not through the Bible. Not through the Bible. It is the same people who repackage themselves in different forms and come back to colonize Africans religiously, but not Christian-wise, not with the Bible. Not with the Bible. The Bible is not a tool for mental slavery. Rather, the slave masters use the Bible, give wrong interpretation to the Bible, using their wrong interpretation to enslave their subjects mentally, to enslave them. But those who know the truth of the Bible are not enslaved. So the Bible is the book of absolute freedom. The reality of the Bible is to bring to our understanding what it means to really be free, the kind of life we are to live, to really be free in every ramification on how to relate with God. The Bible is not meant to enslave anybody. That is not the intention of God. Rather, evil humanity hijacked the Bible, giving it false interpretation to enslave people. I am not mentally enslaved with the Bible. Rather, I am mentally liberated with the Bible. And by the grace of God, that is the reason I have become productive with the Bible. You see, lost and their problems. This is part of my product from the Bible. The Olivet Prophecy, Matthew 24. Polygamy and its problems. The 3 books are available in Amazon. The 3 books are available in Amazon. So as soon as you go to Amazon, you go to the menu line just below the search space. You enter books. Then you type The Olivet Prophecy, Matthew 24, or books by Inimakalo. The Olivet Prophecy, Matthew 24. Any of my books that have appeared here, by the side of it, click on top of my name, then the 3 books will be available, depending on the one you want to buy, or you want to buy the 3 of them to equip yourself more and more concerning Bible and godly knowledge. The 3rd point, Africans have not for a day celebrated their dead ancestors and the sufferings of the dead, and because of the sufferings of the dead ancestors. Then, who stopped Africa from celebrating it if they choose to? Is it the church that is stopping them? What is really stopping them? When Africans do not have regard for what really belongs to them, or maybe they choose to do it a different way. How does the church, how do we Christians stop Africans from celebrating their ancestors if they choose to? But I'm not talking about celebrating them in sin, celebrating them in righteousness. So this is a lie against the church, because we are not responsible to stop Africans from celebrating their heroes. It is not our responsibility, and we don't engage in it. We are doing our own things our own way. So how should Matthias Zako be lying with his serpentine tongues against the Christians? The 5th point, no African is an author of any book of the Bible. No African saints, no African angels. According to Matthias Zako, he claimed that the authors of the Bible are European Westerners, even the angels of the Bible, the saints of the Bible. But all these things are lies. They are lies. Bible never tells us. Rather, the colonizers make Africans to believe outside of the Bible. Many Christians are Bible illiterate. Those who are colonized are Bible illiterate, who never really know the Bible until now. So the authors of the Bible, we are not even Europeans. So that is another lie. None of the European is an author of any book of the Bible. The authors of the Bible, we are all Israelis. Jesus is not an European. He's an Israelite. He groomed his disciples from his own land. Then he trained them. Some of them became those who wrote part of the Bible. No European wrote any part of the Bible. It is a lie. It is a fallacy. The Bible was brought to the Europeans and not the Europeans writing it. So it is a lie. It is a lie. The real Christians are not responsible for the suffering of anybody. The 6th point is, okay, let me continue with the fifth one. No African saints. The people God called the saints are the righteous. So that righteousness is not racial. It is not tribalistic. It is universal. So the saints, Bible never tells us in anywhere that the saints are Europeans. It is a lie forged by Matthias Ezek to attack Christianity and the Christians. The Bible declares the saints, anybody from anywhere can become a part of the saints, but it is not by self-acclamation. It is by living in right standing with God. So those, the righteous, are the saints. It is not people occupying high position of authority, a respectable position in the religious sector, and claim that they are saints. That is not what the Bible means as regard to the saints. The saints are those who humble themselves to live in obedience to God and to his word and to his commandments. These are the people that the Bible refers to be the saints. It is not the religious matter, not the religious mafias. The religious mafias are not the saints. Rather, they claim to be, but why they are not. The 6 points. Jesus and God of the Bible does not know Africa. He visited Europe. He never visited Africa. So he does not belong to Africans, and Africans should not be worshiping him, according to Matthias Ezek. But it is a lie. When Jesus came from heaven, he landed in Israel. He was born in Israel, and he came to stay in exile in Africa when he was just 2 years old, running to escape the death threats of King Herod of his time. So his parents, according to divine message, they took him and left Jerusalem to run into Egypt. Then the Ethiopian Enoch received Christianity, the teaching interpretation of the Bible, accurate interpretation of the Bible, and the Christian movement from Philip. So Christianity entered Africa first, even before entering Europe. So God is omnipresent God. God is everywhere in the spirit. In Africa, in Europe, in America. God is not racial. God is not tribalistic. So God loves everyone with equal amount of love. But the difference is determined by how each individual relates with him. That determines how far the person will go with him. That is the only difference. So we can't be blaming God for not knowing us, for not noticing us. All of us humans are made by God. He knows each of us. But how are we truly relating with him? And how careless are the Africans, beside the Bible and the church? How careless are the Africans that they allow themselves to be intruded and be used by others? Because carelessness is a major part of the problems holding Africa down. Africa take their own things for granted. Their crude oil. Look at it. What is your government doing to protect the territorial integrity of Africa, to protect our mineral resources, and to be developing ourselves with them? The God of the Bible visited Europe but the Europeans are productive. So if God visited them and they are developing, we must ask ourselves question, why is it that we Africans are not developing? I'm not talking about myself as an individual. I am talking about the collectivity, the collectivity of Africans. All of us to put together as a people. Why is it that we are not progressing? What is the secret that made the Europe who brought the Bible and Christianity to us to be progressing while we are not progressing? How can it really be the problem from the Bible and the Christianity, which I believe? So that is a fallacy. Africans are not progressing because they are not following the principle of progress and of development. That is the truth of the whole matter. The last point at the moment, the Africans who go to church are useless because they are not productive. Africans who go to church are useless. They are not productive. Matthias Ezako and his co-traditionalists who do not go to church, what is their own product? Of what use are they? Are they useful? So this is just allegation, accusation, changing of narrative and projecting the serpentine light to the Africans, deceiving and being deceived. Matthias Ezako, what is your own product? You are using foreign language, a language belonging to the Europeans, English. That is what you are using. You are using their phone. Even the cloth you are wearing, just like I am wearing, I purposely wear this white native. So look at him, he's wearing a white native. Even the cloth, the material used to sew this cloth, Matthias Ezako cannot produce, even until today. He cannot produce. He cannot produce. I can see something like TTC camera in his room, but he cannot produce. So, is it only the African church that is not productive? Is it only us who go to the church that are not productive? Matthias Ezako goes further to say that Africans are the people, the set of the people are from around the world who graduate from university but cannot produce anything. So then how is that limited to the church? Matthias Ezako, tell me, how does Christianity stop the African graduates from being productive? You are just attacking the church out of your own bitterness, pouring the venom, the serpentine venom on the Christians, on Christianity. But your works must be rendered futile. Is African government productive? The African government which is not the church. Are they productive? What are they producing? Matthias Ezako, you who believe in traditional and occultic spirituality, what is your own product? What is the product of the people of Omena Lagate? What have you produced? Have you produced any car? Have you produced aeroplane? Have you produced phones? What is your own product apart from going about blackmailing and slandering Christianity and the Christians? What is your own product? You accuse the church of not being productive because the Christian faith is made in Europe. That is your accusation, which is not true. Then you, who is not a Christian, what is your own product? Why is it that almost all of Africa, all of the Africans are not productive, or the majority of us, as per se, are not productive? How is that limited to the church? The church is not productive. What happened to the rest of the people who are not productive? So it is about the negligence of the Africans. It is not really about the church, about Christianity. If Africans choose to become productive anytime very soon, they can do that. We have the raw materials. All we need is to educate ourselves properly, because Africans are still under educational colonization. But what I am doing here is decolonizing Africans. And by the grace of God, I am productive as an individual. I produce packets of wisdom. All these things are books of wisdom, polygamy and its problems. The Olivet prophecy, lost and their problems. Lost and their problems. Polygamy and its problems. The Olivet prophecy, Matthew 24. So I have begun to produce. I produce proper education, right education that build the real life. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus is the real way, the real truth, and the real life. That is what Jesus Christ, Christianity, and the genuine Christians like myself, that is what we represent. So don't forget, I am a developer of human capital. I am into the business of human capital development. So the videos I am making now, they are products. I am producing it to be educating people, and I am building up an educational structure where people will come to study and become wise and learn how to be productive. So stop slandering Christianity. Many people are practicing religion, but not Christianity. Those people we are talking about, a lot of them are religionists, but not Christians. A lot of them are not even Christians at all. But because Christianity pulls well, and the Christians we are being accepted due to the Christ nature we display, then hoodlums begin to rush into the church, disguising themselves as fellow Christians to be deceiving the people. But the real Christians like myself, we are still in the business of bringing the truth and reality to the people, building people with moral value and developing them to become valuable, marketable. And they begin to earn their means from what they can produce, not really always relying on others. Africans are still relying. What do we produce? We still import everything. What is your government doing? How many factories the African government build? How many people do they train to become manufacturers in whichever way they can thrive? How many people do they do? If you do not do anything about it, you cannot have any result. The Europeans are still creative. Become creative. Matthias says, tell us what you are creating. Tell us what others are creating. Then let us talk on how to emancipate ourselves from this Western and modern day slavery. May God bless you. I remain your serviceable servant, Evangelist.